Hi, welcome to DBC Live. We are so excited that you are here, and we have a very special guest, Theresa Hoover, on the show with me today. Pretty
Hello.
excited to have her. She is the co-author of Pass the Baton, and she's going to be sharing some cool stuff with us. So, Theresa, welcome.
Thanks. Thanks so much for having me tonight. This is
Uh,
exciting.
yeah, we are excited too. Theresa is incredible, and she's written this book with Catherine, who they have shared just some wonderful, amazing things for music educators. And I feel like it's a one of a kind in our world. I just have not seen a book like this out there at all with any publisher. So I'm pretty stoked about the book. But as you all are joining in, and before I get Theresa to share a little bit about the book, let's talk a little bit about something good that happened this week. So introduce yourself if you're joining in with us. Tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do, and share something good. And then I thought Theresa and I could just start out sharing something good, and then we'll dive into a little bit of intro of what Theresa does. Tell us a little bit about Pass the Baton, and we're going to share some cool strategies that you can use even if you're not a music educator. So stay with us because we have something great in store for all educators. But first, Theresa, do you want to share something good that's happened like in the last week that you would just love to share?
Sure. So I've actually been really lucky. In the last couple weeks, I've had the opportunity to do a lot of traveling. So this time last week, I was actually in White Sands National Park. Have you ever been there, Tara?
I have not. I have not. It
So
sounds beautiful
it's,
though.
it's in New Mexico, and it's the craziest thing because you're driving in New Mexico. You drive through Jefferson National Forest, and there's these beautiful forests, and you keep on driving, and there's mountains and all this, and then the next thing you know, you're in sand dunes. Like legitimate white sand dunes. And
So
it was the
cool.
coolest thing. So I got to go hike. And have you ever seen like a movie where the people are trapped in the desert and they're just walking and it seems like there's nothing but sand? Like that was the feeling you would get. Luckily, there were trail markers, and the instructions said make sure you could always see a trail marker. So I kept to that very, very clearly. But it was just one of the neatest experiences I've had is just hiking through these sand dunes. In the middle of New Mexico. So that was my
That
good
is
thing.
so cool. I've never seen that. I've never been. I've never even seen, like, you'll have to post some pictures. That sounds
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, as you're joining in, remember, tell us who you are, what you do, and tell us something good. We're sharing something good right away as well. Remember, every single comment over in the comments section will enter you to win a free book. So you definitely want to get your name over there, say something, just so you can get your name in for the free drawing. Hi, Kristen. Welcome. So excited to have you. Hey, there's Dave. Dave in the house. Dave, we're sharing something good right now. So if you have something good to share over in the comments section, drop it in for us. Um, I think something good that I've been doing the last couple of weeks, and I'm planning to do it like the entire 2021-2022 school year, is on Thursday. I do Treat a Teacher Thursday. So it just find a teacher team in our area. Next week I'll be traveling, so I'll have to do something remotely, but I have some ideas already. But lately, last week, I brought Sonic drinks to a teacher team here in Lawrence, and then today I brought Starbucks to a teacher team in Topeka. So just pretty fun to like do something sweet for teachers. I think they deserve appreciation all year long and not just one week out of the year. So it's just something I wanted to commit to. It's just a small little token, but it does make me feel a little warm and fuzzy inside when they get so excited about something so small and just feeling appreciated. So that's something good that I think I've just really enjoyed doing on Thursdays.
Oh, that's
Um,
fun. I love it.
it's fun. It's really fun because they get so excited. And I remember being that teacher that just got so excited if when something unexpected came. And yeah, I just call, get their order, and then just run and pick it up and bring it over there. So it's pretty simple, but it's fun.
Awesome.
So today, Theresa, I know we're going to be talking about, oh, let's see what Dave has that's good. I'm getting out for a night run at the beach tonight. That's my good thing for today. Oh, that sounds beautiful, actually. When you're
Yeah.
landlocked, the beach always sounds beautiful. I do live off of a lake, but I do miss being near ocean. So Theresa, I thought you could share a little bit about what you do, where you're from, just for anybody who doesn't already know you, and then we'll dive into our content for the night.
Sure. So again, I'm Theresa Hoover. So originally from Westchester, Pennsylvania. The last 5 years I was in Northern Virginia, just outside DC, and most recently teaching middle school band, which was really fun. Taught for 19 years. This year I'm mixing things up a little bit. I'm actually taking a year away from the classroom and doing some curriculum writing. I'm doing a lot of teacher training, PD, things like that, and really enjoying it. And as a result, that's how I've been able to do some traveling recently, because most of the work I'm doing is remote, which is kind of cool to be able to see some different things. So yeah, that's who I am in a nutshell.
That's awesome. That sounds fun too. And I think we all just deserve that time, you know, like if you have that opportunity, being able to take that time and do some different things, see things from a different perspective. I mean, it always just helps you to come back fresh if you choose to go back in the classroom. And if not, maybe you really enjoy this. This is something that's for you forever. And then you get to help all kinds of people create curriculum and lessons and incredible lessons like Pass the Baton for their students, which only amplifies your impact, right? And so super exciting there. So Theresa, I know you are going to share a little bit about something that we can all implement in our classroom. But before we dive into that, just in case anyone here is listening, you have music teachers in your world. I know you have music teachers in your world. You better have music teachers in your world. That's really important. Tell them what music teachers can expect to find in the Pass the Baton book.
Okay. So book's Pass the Baton, empowering all music students. And we were very particular about empowering all music students. I was primarily an instrumental teacher, teaching middle school band and instrumental music at various grade levels. And then my co-author, Catherine, is a general music teacher. So we really enjoyed the collaboration and being able to think about what we could do to support all music educators. And really that our goal, again, is in the title. It's how we can help teachers empower their students, how we can help the kids find ownership in their music making. Because really what we've found is when the kids have ownership of the music making, it doesn't end when they walk out of our classroom doors. They continue to see themselves as musical, and they continue to see themselves as creative and all of those things we want for our students, even beyond our classrooms. So throughout the book, we talk about practical ways that teachers can give their students empowerment, practical ways they can pass the baton and encourage students to create and to collaborate, to voice and choice, all of those things, giving examples from our own classrooms. And we also have interviews throughout from other teachers who are doing really neat things in their classrooms as well. So if you're a music teacher, if you know a music teacher, we would love you to check it out.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I feel like this book is just full of practical ideas that very specific to music educators. And that is something that's, I feel like is just not out there. It's also not out in professional development. I spent a whole year, well, multiple years actually, but as a district administrator, literally over our professional development. I remember our music teachers crying out loud and clear, like, do something for us, like make sure that there's something that works for us. And I feel like if you have music educators in your world that are saying that, this is the book they need. Like it's right. Written for that. I would love to have a course, you know, with DBC University that has this option, because I feel like there's so many, like if I were an admin in a building or in a district, I would give my music teachers that option. Like you can go take the Pass the Baton course then, if you don't want to sit through this PD, because it's going to be more directed to your world. So if you need that, this is a book for you. It is up in the link above or below this video, depending on where you're watching. Go check it out, definitely. But Theresa's going to share something that'll work for anybody, all educators, because, you know, when we're teaching, we teach for all people. And like she said, there's so many ways that you can empower your learners. They don't necessarily be little. A lot of my learners are bigger than me. Learners to be creators no matter where they're at. So Theresa, I'm gonna let you take the floor. I'm gonna back out of here and let you share all the wonderful things that you want to share with us. Anything.
Sounds good. All right. Well, this is a very very simple and basic idea, but it's something that we found had a really big impact on our students. And it's just the idea of using video for either a dress rehearsal, or you could call it an almost ready presentation. And believe it or not, I actually started doing this when I was working with the TED Ed Club, and not my music students, but it's really transferred well to music, which is why I realized like any teacher could use this. So I think a lot of us now are used to having students record videos and submit videos of things they're doing. Whether, again, in music, they're submitting a performance that they're doing. Maybe they're doing a scale playing test, or they're submitting video of performance pieces, things like that. Or if they're submitting an actual speech or a book report, a demonstration of some kind of learning. We're used to video in that respect. But what I'm going to encourage you to do is to take it backwards a step and not video only the final product, but have the students video themselves when they're still getting ready. So in the TED Ed Club, again, this is where we first kind of discovered this idea. One of the last steps was to have the students do like a dress rehearsal where they would practice doing their speech. And the situation that I was in, we didn't have really long for meetings. We didn't have a lot of time, and there wasn't the opportunity to let every student practice giving their TED Talk prior to the actual, I guess performance isn't the right word, the presentation. So we had the idea of using Flipgrid to have the kids record this almost ready presentation. And what they would do is they would record the presentation, submit it into Flipgrid, and then every student had to watch their own video and leave themselves feedback, which that was like one of the most magical parts of it. So the students they knew that it wasn't supposed to be polished and perfect, but they had to watch it, and they had to watch it with a critical eye to give themselves feedback. So the kids would notice, did I rush through a certain spot? Did I miss something? Was I speaking clearly and making eye contact with the camera? And they could really look and see what it would be like if they were to be presenting. One student, it was just the cutest thing. I watched his feedback video, and he says, "Hello, future Hudson. This is, present day Hudson, and here's what I have to say to you." And he just listed all these wonderful things. And we encourage the students to also not just find the things that they could improve upon, but also to give themselves some positive feedback, things that they really thought went well, and things that they were proud of from this almost ready performance. And again, it really just helped them to look at what they were doing and then be more prepared when it was time for the actual presentation. So we've done it in a bunch of different ways since that. I've used it with my kids in band. When they're getting ready for like a solo performance, we'll encourage them to do this almost ready video, and it's been really fun.
I love that idea, and I think it fits my world. With speaking, yeah. I've been trained by multiple different people throughout the time of learning, like how to be a good coach, how to be a presenter, how to be a speaker, how to be a storyteller, all these different things. And I feel like video has always served me well. Even way back when in teaching, I'm just going to relate like to what you're talking about. When I first started teaching, it was my third year. I took a coaching course with Jim Knight, who is right here in Lawrence, amazing coach. I've had a lot of his courses since then. But he was talking about video and how important it is to like record yourself and find out like what are you doing in the moment. And that is like the realness, right? And then you can figure out like, how can I do that better next time? Because if you only see the best, your polished version, you can't really see like what your default is. And doing the in the moment or the almost ready performance, I think is so important, because you find those little quirks, you find those little things that you can work on that are kind of your default anyway. And I started recording myself. I vividly remember setting up a pretty large camera on a tripod as a teacher and thinking I just crushed a lesson. And I wasn't even about to get like evaluated. I was just wanting to be better. And looking at that lesson, like that I thought I crushed, and realizing like kids were like falling out on the floor, like it was all craziness happening. Like, how did I miss it? I was really like a second year teacher. It was amazing. But carried that tradition, that strategy over into coaching. And I remember when I was learning to be a better instructional coach, I would turn the camera just straight on me. I wasn't really recording the person I was talking to. I just wanted to see, like, how is my body language? How am I making them feel? Like, and just examining like what I do in the moment and how can I do it better. And girl, I still record. I record all kinds of things. I record conversations. I record almost every single workout I do, especially if I'm doing any kind of new move. I'm constantly evaluating every single thing because I want to be better. And I think it doesn't matter. We have this access to video and it's so easily accessible, and our kids are so comfortable in front of a camera. Most of them, that's all they do all day. And so letting them record their almost ready performance, I think, is just a brilliant idea. And then giving themselves feedback, because then you learn to see, you get to see what other people see instead of your perception of what you think other people are seeing.
Yeah. Well, and everything that you're talking about too is it's emphasizing that process. Learning is a process. So often we get stuck worried about what the final product is. And I think in the arts, we do that a lot. You know, what's the final concert, or where's, you know, here's my final piece of art that I've created. Whereas that process is so valuable, and there's so much that we can learn from it if we take the time to really look at it and recognize it. You know, and as teachers, if you're thinking, oh, I should incorporate this activity, absolutely. And it doesn't need to be a graded thing. We don't need to grade them on how well they're doing for their almost ready. In fact, I've seen some people who will do similar ideas and they grade the students based on, can they take the feedback and implement that feedback for the final, whatever the final performance or the final presentation is. So how well can they use that to continue growing?
And isn't it cool when they can give themselves feedback? I just love that, because I love being able to look at myself. I just relate to a workout because it's kind of what I'm doing right now. But I will just, like, if I can go in slow-mo, if I can just move it slowly and see where my knee just slightly turned out, and that was what was causing the lift to not go all the way up properly, then I'm like, okay, so how do I correct that? Then I'm just like concentrating on it, and then making sure the next time I watch the video that my knee is getting corrected, and a little bit more and a little bit more. And I think with students, that's just such a great thing to teach them, because there's so many things in life that we're not going to get it right the first 20 times we do it, or 30. But if we just keep focusing on it, we keep trying just a little bit harder to, like, make this little tweak, make this little jump. Like you said, it's just the process of learning. And I like the idea too of not grading it, because maybe just grading that they actually did it. It's participation grade, but not like, if they got it all right. So they got it all right the first time. That doesn't really count.
No, that's not the goal. That's not the goal at all. Because again, learning is that process. They're going to get it wrong several times, and that's okay, right? So we're helping to teach kids that it's okay to struggle a little bit. It's okay to work towards something, and that we all do it. And I guess I would even encourage teachers. You were saying you did it, Tara, to record yourself, right? Be vulnerable in that way that we're asking our students to be, so that they can see, or tell them about your process for getting ready for, if you're going to be, speaking in front of the school board, or if you're going to be speaking, music teachers speaking in front of a concert. How do you prepare yourself for that? Talking the students through what that's like for you. So.
Another thing I thought, Theresa, you could add to the activity, I don't know, but this is something we did in HPS Core, which is Heroic Public Speaking Core. A course that I took, it was a 12-week course with, it was amazing, with Michael Port and his wife, Amy. I learned a lot of things. One of the things I learned is that we would, of course, record segments of us speaking, and then we would share it with our cohort. So we had a group that was like just 2 people that we trusted within our group that we would share our video with. So not only did we give ourselves feedback and watch it, but we gave our video to them to watch with very specific direction of what we wanted them to look for. So we looked at it first, and we were really trying to nail like these certain things. And maybe it's like 2 things. And so we gave that to them with that lens. Like, did you feel like this question was answered thoroughly? And they were only allowed to give us feedback on the things we asked them to give us feedback on.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that idea because I think sometimes people can look at it and they just have a totally different lens, and that may or may not be like what you're searching for, what you're trying to deliver.
Yes.
And everybody just has their own opinion anyway. You're never going to please everyone. But
Right.
if you know, like, so the kid observes it and they say, you know, these are the couple things I want to work on, and they have one trusted colleague or one trusted peer that they can trust to watch it, like, hey, can you look and see if I nailed these two things? These are the two things I was really working on. Like, I don't want feedback on anything else, I just want feedback on that piece. I think that would be just another way to, it's extra vulnerable, but it'd also be another way to like look at it.
Yeah, it is. But I feel like I'm thinking about this again from the music teacher lens at the moment. A lot of times, you know, when we're playing something, I know when the song is supposed to get louder. So if I'm listening to myself, I'm like, oh yeah, it got louder there. Oh yeah, I heard that. But then maybe if I were to have you listen to it and say, you know, Tara, tell me when you heard the volume changes. Mm-hmm. You don't know where it's supposed to be. So maybe you would have a different ear and a different opinion on what you heard as an audience member. That's a great, and, you know, encouraging students to have that trusted friend that they can give that feedback. That's so valuable too.
It is, and it's really hard. I will say my trusted colleague that I work with a lot, he's also an author for DBC Inc., Matt Miller. So if he's watching this, he'll know. But he and I would switch videos, and I would say, okay, I want you to look at this and this. And he would say, I want you to look at this and this. And then when we got together, I was like, hey, there was one more thing I really wanted to tell you. But only if you want to hear about it. But I saw the things you were looking for, but I just one more thing. And so he would do the same thing with me, because once you built that relationship, then you feel like you can. So if they kept the same person, you know, that they got to share their video with, then you start feeling like you can get a little more deeper and, you know, fine tune it even more.
Yeah.
So fun. I love that idea though. I think it's so important that we don't just guess what other people are seeing, but let's actually look at it and see, what are we actually doing? What are, like, when I used to record myself teaching, I would sometimes turn the camera toward the kids. This is before social media, so it wasn't a big deal. But I'd be like, okay, you know, I need to check and see if I'm doing this right. So they would see my camera set up all the time, so they weren't really even caring about it. And man, when I would think sometimes they were just like so into it, I would notice they really weren't. I'm like, oh man, the truth is so vivid when you're seeing it for yourself, you know.
It is. But again, I think it's something you can do. Music, it's something you could do in an art class, in if any kind of presentation the kids are going to do, if they're going to be speaking, if they're going to be demonstrating, think about whatever product it is you're trying to get to, how can they share video, take video of that almost ready
performance. I love it.
Yeah.
And you know, it's so true. And they love taking videos. I mean, they make TikToks all day.
Gosh, I know.
They should be able to crush this.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this has just been so much fun. I think it's so important that we do take time for reflection, and reflection doesn't always have to be just sitting down with a notepad and a pen and just writing down things. You know, maybe reflection is actually watching ourselves and seeing how things actually look, sound, and feel. So thank you so much for sharing that. Almost Ready performances. If you guys try this, be sure and share them out. And Theresa, how can they connect with you on social media?
So on social media, it's just at Musical Theresa. It's really easy. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, you know, all the places.
All the places. And then, what about your website?
So my personal website is musicaltheresa.com. And then you can also find more info about Pass the Baton on passthebatonbook.com. So with that, we've got blog posts. We actually have a pretty new YouTube series that we've been interviewing some teachers talking about student empowerment. So there's a lot of great resources on the book website.
Awesome. So be sure and check that out, passthebatonbook.com. And then Dave has put her Twitter handle over here, so be sure and check that out too. And if you do try any of these strategies, the Almost Ready performance or any variation of that, share it out. Let us know. Tag Theresa. And we will be having Theresa and Catherine on the show in November. So we'll talk a little more about music and Pass the Baton in the book. So if you have some music educators, be sure and invite them out. I think it's their 1-year anniversary of the book.
It will be. Right? Yes. It'll be right around that book birthday week, which is so exciting.
Super cool. Super cool. Well, thanks so much for joining us, Theresa. We just absolutely loved having you on the show today.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. It's good to see you.
It was fantastic. Bye, everyone. If you're watching this on the playback, be sure and put your comment over in the comment section. We will be giving away a free book. Even if you're not a music educator, I bet there's one in your life that you would love to share it with. So thank you so much for joining us. And bye, Theresa. Thanks so much for joining.
Thanks. Bye.